Yeah, you should have had one.
Family pass.
And I'm sorry you don't have that.
Oh, I'll get you one. That's a cute little story. They were from last time.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments? Do you have any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move to the next agenda item, which is a presentation by Mrs. Gutenberger for Park Month.
Thank you.
Yes.
As children and young people who make art in the schools. And it was started by the National Art Teachers Association, and every month Nebraska Art Teachers Association hosts a show where teachers can send student art that's displayed in the Capitol right now. So I did put a handout there on the table that shows the student art that I selected to go. It's kind of hard to select, but that was selected months ago. Prepared, and I sent it all. And I am going down for the ceremony. It's really cool, and the parents were invited. And I usually have like at least one of the parents that will come down, and it's in the rotunda. It's really cool, but to do. And I just wanted to briefly show you a little bit about kids are doing at each level. I teach in all 3 schools, the junior high, central, and elementary. And then I'll introduce my special guest at the end, okay? And I'm gonna leave this up. Hopefully you'll have a time to take a quick look. But at the elementary level, this is a 2nd grade art right here. I'm just really impressed with Weston Olson's art, though. That was pretty good for 2nd grade. But I put different things on for different reasons of creativity at each level. And for the little kids, it's seeing things in a new way. And this is 3rd grade. So I like it because you can already see some changes in the art, especially when it's hanging in the hallway. And I put on here something, this is to help me remember, by the way. A lot of times I will have a have to. Well, actually I only have a have to each semester. And it's on the board, and the kids will walk in, some of the little ones, they walk in, they see have to, they go, oh, like that, because they want to do their own thing. But a lot of times I have to, and then I have a demonstration thing. So this was a demo day where I demonstrated how to use a ruler in art. They did not have to do that, but a lot of them chose to. And this was a day where I talked about using patterns in art, and you can see some chose, but not all of them. The board is central, and I see 4th grade one week, 5th grade the next week, 4th grade. So consequently, I only see them like a couple times a month. And I'm on a cart. So I usually take pictures of their art. And so I was putting this together. I said, oh no, how am I going to show that? So I just printed off pictures. We had a couple things. The 7th graders had one big have-to assignment, or the 5th graders, one big have-to assignment based on dwellings and structures, past and future. So we looked at some images. The reason I did that is because they get to go to the Great White House. And then the 4th grade over here, we had it on nature, real or imaginary. And again, we looked at different art that was real or imaginary. And so those are some of the things they came up with. And this is the 7th and 8th graders. And the thing I wanted to point out, a couple things. I changed the definition of creativity to creativity is the process of connecting unrelated things or ideas to create something new. And I discovered that I have to explain what the word unrelated means, because often they'll put things together that are kind of related. But here's a couple examples I just put on from that. That was the have-to assignment they had to do. And this one was we played a game where they came up with a list, and this one was a shark and a guitar or music, and she put that together for her art. I shop at the Bargain Bazaar for weird stuff, and so I paid a dime each for one of the, aren't these beautiful? I think they are. Another thing I wanted to point out was that I tell the kids you don't have to draw or paint in art. Because some of them freak out, because we do have our artists. We have one sitting right here, and we have the others that have to be there, you know? So I have stencils, and I show them how they can put together really cool stuff just using stencils and magazines, and I was pretty impressed with Cooper's. He said he wanted, I said, well, what do you like? He said sports. And I said, well, let's not use the word sports. Let's come up with other words. So he came up with determination, victory, compete, team, work, yeah. And I thought it looked awesome. I was very proud of him. And he was proud of himself, which is what I'm hoping for the kids who are the non-artists, you know. So this is what all this, and over here, I just last minute grabbed this from the hallway at the elementary, because you know what, those boys worked really hard on that. That whole thing is in color pencil. Yeah, it took a long time, but I thought it was kind of cool. There's another example right here, how this boy didn't have to draw. I had this print, and he printed that, and printed something on top of it, and he wrote in color, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And hers, she just finished hers. I didn't have room on the board, and I just thought it showed a lot, expressed a lot about how she felt. I got permission from her because it seemed kind of personal, but she said, sure, go ahead and put it up. Another thing that's been really popular this year has been this air dry Crayola clay. And so I really like this little hamburger, and that's all. They love the clay, and it's almost all gone. And so is the white paint. White paint is always gone. This was from one of the fifth graders. This was his interpretation of dwelling structures, past and future. This is on the moon in the future. I thought that was a pretty good one. So I brought it in. This is Vanya Rodriguez.
That is the red tree in the background of ours. And I also included a prairie chicken, which are also indigenous to Regulo County, and they attract most of our tourism because they are very beautiful birds with sunset colored like bills and beaks and chest feathers. And a lot of bird watchers come to Regulo County because they included the river to show where the trees has all the names of the towns that are included in Regulo County. It's in the lower left corner of the map.
That's very good.
That's very good. That's actually really good.
I'm anxious to see it. Actually, I didn't mention that it's going to hang in the entryway of the Mona permanently. So she will always have her art along with all the other students, who probably were mostly high school students on there. So if you get a chance to go to Mona, you can look at her art.
Good for you. Good job. That was excellent.
Does anybody want to take any time to look at these, or you want to wait till after the meeting? We can take a few minutes and go through the list. We'll look at after the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll reach out to you later.
Absolutely. You get it. I can get more.
So next on
Some of the school activities. So blood drive took place today, actually at the Morrisville Fellowship. We got sent by Lisa House and Clover Guard, so they did a good job taking the reins on that. Of course, it's that time of year, ACT prep, Mr. Dix's favorite time of year.
Come check out my office.
So of course we got that going on, and prom is April 5th, so that's the big thing on the calendar, end of the month. I know preparation is, I believe, starting right about now. For sports and clubs, winter and spring sports. Winter sports just wrapped up for the year, and currently preparing for our spring athletics. The parent and player meetings have taken place, and teams are getting ready for the upcoming season, so we're looking forward to that. FFA is coming off of the FFA week, and they will be at NCTA tomorrow. For art, the senior high will have a week-long art show at the MCC Wrightstone Art Gallery. For dance and cheer, both will be holding tryouts each day this week. Choir, the junior high and senior high will be having a choir concert this week, I believe, tonight or tomorrow? Tomorrow night. And then for drama, they're beginning to practice for the spring play, which I heard is Alice in Wonderland. So,
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes and financials from the previous month. Looking for a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes and financials.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote, Mr. Gross.
Scott.
Next on the agenda is a finance committee report.
I got it right down here, Mike. So, the biggest thing I would say is, we met with facilities on a Wednesday, we had the board meeting on a Monday, and then we met with finance following week. It was on February 13th, so, yeah. So what we really talked about, and just a review of that, was the staging contract for the YMCA that we approved a couple nights before, the parking lot, the elementary.
The district actively works towards its goal through a comprehensive instructional program and a living action plan with high-quality professional development. The Board of Education and community support efforts to optimize student opportunities. And there's a document that we created have had internally called the MIOSD, which is the McCook Instructional Operations and Systems document. And a Grow, Learn, Inspire document, which was created for them coming in as the external team. They were complementary of those documents. They provided clear guidance on our mission, our operations, and expectations for staff and the public. And I think that there were comments made during the presentation that I was not privy to, because I was not able to be at that, talking about how some folks wanted to emulate that in their own school districts. Is that true? Or
That is true.
Instructional excellence was a headline bullet for them in student support. They said that McCook Schools is a well-established instructional model prioritizing continuous improvement in teaching and learning for all educators. Two-way partnerships between the district and community contribute to a student success, and all students, regardless of performance levels, receive appropriate supports and are held to high expectations. They also talked about the positive learning environment. Students recognize their own academic growth through challenging learning experiences. Parents appreciate the confidence and support of teachers that teachers provide for students, and the district fosters a safe and responsive environment for students with diverse needs. Now, one might question, based off of those comments, how would they know how parents felt? We did. Each building had a parent panel that the external team members visited with and asked questions. So they didn't just talk to teachers or administrators or other staff members. They also talked to groups of students and groups of parents from across the district, and were able to bring that all together and put it in a report. They did have some recommendations. That's their job, is to find areas that they want the school district to focus on moving forward. And we can get into this a little bit. Some of these recommendations, I knew we saw the future and kind of knew what some of these were going to be. So, and then some of these aren't really a surprise. The goal is to further enhance our effectiveness as a school district. The first one was adopt the NDE's continuous improvement process. We're on an older method of the school improvement process for the state of Nebraska. Here the night I presented to the external team, we do a lot of data collection and a lot of data analysis, but they would actually, so what they're actually asking us is to pick a very small goal, or a very small content area, a very well-framed and easy to understand goal, and measure that growth over a 5-year period. You know, you select the goal and then collect data on it over a 5-year period to see how your school improvement process impacts student achievement in that area. And that's stuff we've done in the past, so we really aren't surprised by that. Also, they want us to align with the Nebraska Department of Education's resources and processes as they become available. So there is sort of a continuous change and update available next year, and what we start with in year 1, which is next year, will be what we use through the 5-year process. That's just the way we've rolled in the past. But there are some new things, like one of the things I even talked about in the opening presentation was a perceptual survey that we give to parents. And so I mentioned that we're probably in this next go-around, next year, year 1, we'll probably start with the new perceptive that you would like to mention or say concerning that presentation that I may have just glossed right over the top of. Anything that can add some depth, breadth, understanding, some more content, some more detail.
Go ahead, Brad.
I think they were thoroughly impressed, and they did a wonderful job, and well organized and prepared, so on. So lots of positive comments.
When you listen to them talk, it sounds
Really soon. So folks will probably be getting phone calls. I think they will provide us also with some information where we can post so people can go and access that website to answer those questions on that survey. It's just to garner data from our community to see how they feel about the bond, what they can basically, a lot of it's going to be, I think, financial, and seeing what folks really feel they can afford, to be quite honest with you, because that tells us a lot about where we can go in the future. So they're going to be collecting that data, and we should have information. I'm going to, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, by the end of March, we might have some of that data.
They were hoping to open it and go hard for 10 days, and I believe today, tomorrow, Wednesday, they're going to start making phone calls and getting data points out.
so just calls, that's how they're.
Well, I think
They're
they
also
can
going
also
to
do
do
this. We can do some posting.
Some posting of the survey where people can go and fill it out.
So as soon as we have a link to that, we can put it on our webpage and those types of things. But I'll have to look and see if I got something today. I did it this morning. So
by April, we'll know. The April meeting, we'll know.
We told them for timing purposes, no.
was much higher, even than when we talked to you, Jeff, it's much higher than where we are traditionally and even on our conversation. So Joel's done a good job of bringing the price down to where it is now, but we probably need some more work. If we're going to make a full purchase for all the grade levels, we probably need to get a little bit more of that whittled off. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Not bad, I didn't want to make a deal, Mr. Bender,
Well,
right?
Not bad enough.
Not yet. I think we're going to
Well,
have to
under
make
the
them
last 2 years, we've been able to whittle it down and done it really well. This one's gonna be a little bit more difficult, but I'll do my best.
As you can tell, I don't even know.
Yes, we
Don't
don't
worry.
say it's awful quiet. That's by design, because we want Mr. Gross to be able to sleep at night, so there's no point in causing him that much consternation until we know what the price actually is.
So would there be consideration, kind of what you're talking about with science and math, splitting them up?
Yeah, so we have a 7-year rotation, right? So every year we have a cycle that we go through and that's part of the reason it's so expensive. We want it to last 7 years. And you think about all of the paper copies, but then there's also digital copies, right? And so that's why it's so expensive. We kind of have a rotation, and I looked into it about 4 years ago, and I kind of got into the curriculum piece. So like, okay, we could really change how we do this, but since we're in a 7-year cycles, they're really hard to change after that. So.
And corrected it as the year, in 2018, if they came out with new science standards, 2019 we were buying content to match those standards, or to help us teach those standards. So, and our own curriculum, obviously, that we design here locally, which is bounded off those standards. So, that's why we're in this rotation. Now, next year is what, Joel, you told me, and I can't remember, it's a career tech, CTE. So generally, that's a smaller purchase. So I don't want to, and Joel doesn't want to. But if we had to, we could split that purchase up over 2 years, even though that's probably not best case scenario. Because then you're dividing up training. It creates a whole host of other complications for the district. So if we can get it all in 1 year, we're going to try to go for it. All right, anything else?
No, I think we'll have I'm hoping by April, but then by May.
These products, and maybe some of the reason it's more expensive, it seems to be far more inclusive than it has been in the past. Greg, you've been very much involved with it. Would you agree with that? I would agree with that. Okay. So that's part of why we see an increase in expense as well.
We want a product that matches our community values.
Yes,
So,
and they've done a very good job. Once you know, the
we
content.
have to take a couple out already.
Yep.
It doesn't match our community values, and I wouldn't be comfortable presenting it to you, and so I just want to let you know. That's the week.
Thank you for that.
We appreciate that.
And that-
I mean, seriously,
Well,
tongue
honestly,
in
that's
cheek,
important.
because we're the ones that get the emails and the phone calls, so we appreciate that.
And then you want a product that matches your community, because the kids are going to relate to it better as well. So your curriculum should always, you might start with the state standards, but you're going to whittle and refine based off your community and what they value. And so because our kids are going to master that content, because they can relate to that content. So that's just part of the process. Very good. Oh, did I? Oh, that's, I'm sorry. All right, so I did hand this out earlier because there's a lot sitting at your desks. But this is something that I've been working on. It is in a draft